Before we jump into this episode, I want to remind you that while Caitlin and Sophia are dietitians, we're not your dietitians. This means the information shared in the Food Freedom Fertility podcast is intended to entertain, educate, and inform. It is not a substitute for medical care. This information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making any changes. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Food Freedom Fertility podcast. I am one of your hosts, Sophia Pavia, and I'm doing a solo episode today. And if you're watching this on YouTube, look, I've got the door open here so you can see my reflection in the bathroom mirror. Just thought the lighting was a little better like this. So if you like good lighting, watch on YouTube. But if you just want to listen to the facts, here they come at you. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist who specializes in women's fertility, especially progesterone production and the 2-week wait. My co-host, who's on most of these episodes, but today I'm going solo. Her name's Caitlin Johnson. She's also a dietitian. Her specialty is PCOS fertility. And we put our heads together to come up with this list that I think you're going to be really interested in today. So before I tell you what this list is going to be and what we're going to be talking about, I want to let you know that if you like fertility-focused content about nutrition and lifestyle delivered to you in a fun, lighthearted, easy-to-manage way, this is the podcast for you because that is all we do here. So please subscribe wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. Here is the big poppin' list, the top 5 mistakes we see women making while they are trying to conceive. You ladies who are working to grow your families are a hardworking lot. Let me tell you, I am impressed pretty much every day with the ladies that I meet and work with. You are the hardest working, the most educated, the most focused. You are just the best. This is the reason I love working with you. First of all, I love helping families grow, but you are just my favorite because a lot of the times working in the world of nutrition, you either have people that don't care. A doctor just told them they had to meet with you. That's the worst. Or you have people that are really motivated about things that you just don't care that much about, some gym bro trying to put on 2 more pounds of muscle. You're like, why? In this space, working with you who wants to grow your family, my favorite, the absolute best. So don't take this as criticism. Take this as, girl, you're doing too much. You've got so much focus, so much drive. You are so dedicated. You are already such a beautiful mother. You're just sort of misdirected in the places where you are putting that energy. So that's what I want you to take away from this episode. You're not being criticized or judged. You are just being shown a more direct route to where you're trying to go. Because right now you're kind of spiraling around in a circle and pouring energy into things that just aren't helpful. So that brings me to the first point, the first mistake that Caitlin and I see most frequently in women who are trying to conceive, and that is restricting their diets versus including. Pretty much every day, I will open a DM or get an email or have a comment from somebody that's like, I've done absolutely everything to try to heal my fertility. I don't eat red meat anymore. I have cut out gluten and I'm dairy free. And I'm like, what is that supposed to do for you? Right? Unless you have alpha gal syndrome, you don't need to be avoiding red meat. Unless you are allergic to dairy, you have allergies, and you've noticed very specific problems that happen to you uniquely when you're eating dairy, really not a reason to go dairy free. If you have a gluten allergy or you notice a lot of symptoms while you're eating these foods that alleviate when you're avoiding them, okay, we can work with you being gluten free. But there is no reason to avoid perfectly healthy, great foods because apparently they're bad for fertility. There is not a singular food that is bad for fertility. Cutting out all gluten, that's really not going to do much for your fertility at all, especially when we look at what are you actually eating. That's the key, gals. What are you eating? That's what makes the biggest difference in your fertility, not what are you avoiding. Not how much have you managed to cut out of your diet. It's how much richness of nutrition, how many minerals and vitamins, how much protein and omega 3s, like how much iron, how much vitamin E, vitamin C, how much fiber are you getting? It's what you're getting that makes the difference, not what you are avoiding. I will say, in a small percentage of the population, cutting out certain foods that you know mess you up can be a part of healing and feeling better. I do see this sometimes, but oftentimes it is the fact that we're balancing your blood sugar and we're getting enough fiber and protein. So it's like the gal that's like, well, I went gluten free and now I'm feeling so much better. We look at what she was eating, which is like a couple pieces of peanut butter toast in the morning, and then her lunch was like a 6-inch Subway. And then dinner was like pasta and broccoli. She cuts out gluten and she thinks, oh my gosh, I'm feeling so much better. When in reality, now she's having eggs and fruit for breakfast, soup and salad for lunch, and chicken thighs with rice and sweet potatoes for dinner. And so what we're actually seeing is a great increase in her protein and fiber. So she's feeling so much better because her blood sugar is so much well managed. She's getting way more actual nutrition. That's where we see big changes happen. And it can be easy to think, well, when I cut out gluten, that's when all this improvement happened. It wasn't the gluten. It was the fact that you were eating a lot of carbs without much else with it, and the fact that you were not eating a lot of protein rich, nutrient rich food. Sometimes people have gluten sensitivities. I mean, if that's you, girl, I'm not coming for you. This does exist. This is like a real issue that exists in the world. But simply cutting out gluten, cutting out dairy, cutting out red meat, cutting out, I don't know, what else do other people think is like hurting their fertility? Like, I don't need any food dye. And I'm like, okay, was that a big part of your life though? Like, were you having like a bowl of Skittles for breakfast? Maybe then we're eating too much food dye, but the food dye is not the concern with the bowl of Skittles for breakfast. It's the lack of quality nutrients in the excessive amount of refined sugar, right? So it's not what you avoid, it's what you include. Mistake number one, myth busted, revealed. It is not what you avoid. Like cutting out too much, restricting is going to hurt your fertility more versus I'm going to include the wide array of foods that Sophia and Caitlin talk about on this podcast every day. And that's what's going to improve my fertility. Okay. Mistake number one, done. Mistake number two, this one goes hand in hand with the sponsor you heard us talk about all season long, Temp Drop, and that is not tracking basal body temperature. That is such a common issue I see. I meet with gals that are shelling out the cash to work with me, and they're like, well, I got this, special piece strip monitor and I use my ovulation tests, and here's what they say. And I've been testing this and testing that in my urine, and I went and got these blood tests done. And while I'm not saying that you need to avoid doing those things, all urine tests on luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, these cannot confirm ovulation. That is the job of basal body temperature. Your basal body temperature will only shift up like it does after ovulation. After ovulation. That's the only thing that's going to make your basal metabolic rate and your basal temperature shift that way. And measuring it specifically is so important because confirming when you're ovulating lets us know how long is the time between when you ovulated and when you start bleeding. When you know your basal body temperature, when you can confirm ovulation, sister, you never again will have a late period. You never again will think, oh my gosh, my period's late. Maybe I'm pregnant. Nope. You will not get your hopes up and get dashed back down by a late period. You will know there is no such thing as late periods. There's only late ovulation or pregnancy. So there's a lot less heartbreak there. And it gives us medical practitioners like Caitlin and I some real data on what's happening in your body. If you're having this long, luxurious luteal phase with no spotting, no cramping. It's 14 days long. Your temp stays high the whole time and only dips right before you bleed. We know this is not an area where your body needs the most support. If we are seeing a short luteal phase, if we're seeing an extra long follicular phase, and you're like, I don't know, my period's so late. I'm on day 35 of my cycle. My period's late, but I'm not pregnant. Well, did you confirm your basal body temperature? Because you may not have even ovulated at all yet. We can't know unless we get that BBT. So I want to encourage you greatly, don't make this mistake of thinking that peeing on the strips that you bought on Amazon or found at your local drugstore is going to confirm your ovulation, because it cannot. What can is basal body temperature. Now, another thing that can is if you go and get your blood drawn every day and we see your progesterone rise, that also confirms ovulation. You can also get transvaginal ultrasounds every day. That can confirm ovulation. But when we're looking at the expense, the time invested, the invasiveness, I mean, having that wand shoved up your snooch or having your blood pricked and drawn out of your veins every single day, that is pretty invasive versus putting a thermometer on the inside of your arm and just going to sleep and then setting it to sync automatically every 3 days. That is what really tells us what's going on. And it is not as invasive as those other methods. So skipping BBT is a big mistake that I see so commonly in women who are trying to conceive. Mistake number 3, this one, I know you've done this one. I've done this one. We've all done this one. And that is supplementing blindly. Buying a supplement, taking a supplement that you did not have any professional monitoring your blood levels. There was no tests going into this. We have no knowledge of, well, what's the duration? How long should I be taking this for? What's the frequency? Do I take it every day for my whole cycle? Do I take it every other day? Do I take it twice a day? Do I take all of the pills all at once? We don't have any information on that. We don't know, well, the time of day. Should we be taking this in the evening? Should I take this in the morning? Should I be taking it with food? Should it be on an empty stomach? Should I do it before my workout, after my workout? When should I be taking this? All these questions are a big zero in our minds because, and I know this is the progression, okay? You want to have a baby. You make some lifestyle changes, but they're hard because then life happens. And the reason why you've been doing things a certain way for the past 15 years is because your life has been a certain way for the past 15 years. And that life is still rolling forward. So you make some changes, but they can't really stick. And then you're not pregnant again this cycle. And you're so mad and you want something to be different. And you're like, I know what I can do. I can certainly take a pill once a day. And I saw this ad on Instagram for Heart and Soil or for, dude, I don't even know. That's one that comes to mind that I see a lot of ladies taking, and they're just ODing themselves with too much copper with those pills. So if you're taking them and feeling great, good for you. But a lot of people take them and are not feeling great, and a lot of other things can happen. So you buy the supplement and you feel relief. Yes, now I've bought this supplement. It's coming in the mail. I'm going to get it. I'm going to take it. And this cycle is going to be different finally. And that emotional relief is what you're chasing because the situation you're in is so uncomfortable. It is so difficult to not be pregnant again in spite of everything you've been doing. And buying a new supplement gives you a momentary reprieve from this. We've all done it. But this is a mistake. It is very possible to hurt yourself with supplements. What is even more possible is for you to waste your money, your effort, your brain power on things that are not doing anything for your fertility. It is so important, if you're going to be taking a supplement, to work with somebody who is monitoring levels, giving you dosage, duration, frequency, like that you're not just taking something from a completely unregulated industry. I mean, the supplement industry is unregulated. You're just taking it and hoping for the best because you just can't bear another cycle of doing the same things and it not working. And that's a lot of what Caitlin and I make this podcast for, is for you, so that you can get some actual real data on what to do and not do, and you don't feel so painfully stuck. So that's the third big mistake that we see gals making all the time, is just buying supplements and trying supplements blindly without actually working with a professional, without actually having any clear map. How long will you be on this? What exactly is it supposed to be doing for you? How will you know when it's working? And you just want some relief, so you just buy a supplement and hope for the best. All right, that goes hand in hand with mistake number 4, and that is waiting until you've had failed cycles, many broken hearts, you have had pregnancy losses, you've seen expensive specialists, you have poured money into IUI and IVF and stims and everything else. And then finally you come to the end of yourself, your wit's end, and then you say, I guess I should hire a dietitian now. Listen, I'm happy to be a part of your journey no matter when you bring me in. If I am the very last piece to the puzzle, I'm happy to be that last piece. I would so much rather be the missing pieces of the puzzle right from the start. And we can start filling that in, getting you ready for whatever the next step of your journey is going to be, or maybe even avoiding some of these more dangerous, more invasive, more expensive treatments, because we can work on the root that's keeping you from being pregnant in the first place. That is mistake number 4, is waiting until the very end to hire a dietitian, hiring everybody else in between, getting on the conveyor belt at your reproductive endocrinologist, your fertility clinic, your OB, whatever, and going along with thing after thing after thing after thing until finally you say, well, I guess now I need to hire a professional. Hire us today. We are probably going to be the cheapest part of your journey, probably the most fun to work with, and going to be so effective and low risk. Like, what do you have to lose? Honestly, from me, like revamping your food schedule, showing you a better way of doing things, and helping you have less anxiety, if maybe even no anxiety, about what to eat and when, what supplement to take and when. Imagine if you just knew those things because you'd met with me or met with Caitlin, and now you have a very clear plan and you're not afraid anymore. You're not worried anymore. Wouldn't you love that to be your life? Don't wait until the very, very, very end where you're ready to do something totally crazy or hire a dietitian. Hire us earlier. Let's start this journey early, not when you're 8 years in and crying every night, okay? And the last mistake, this is something we see so frequently, and that is expecting that your doctor will know it all and do it all. Like you get on the wait list for this reproductive doctor, this fertility doc, and it feels relieving, right? Oh, I'm not pregnant again this cycle, but in 4 weeks, I'm meeting with Dr. Fancy Pants, and he is going to tell me what I need to know, and it's all going to get sorted out, and so I don't have to be worried today. It feels good to be there, right? But how many of us have gone and met with Dr. Fancy Pants, and Dr. Fancy Pants basically said, we could try Clomid. And that's all. And you're like, whoa, I mean, whoa, hold on. Like, what do you do about my vitamin D? And then, like, did you look at my iron? And, my mom has an autoimmune disease. And, I think my luteal phase is kind of short. And, and they just don't even look into that. And a lot of women, because of this, think, well, then I don't need to look into that. If my doctor didn't say I need to do it, I don't need to do it. If my doctor didn't say, to do something, then it's unnecessary for me. If my doctor told me to do something, that is the Holy Grail. Thus saith the Lord, because my doctor is infallible and I will believe everything they say, no matter what, with no questioning, no second opinions, and no seeking out other experts. And both of those are mistakes. Understand that your doctor has pretty much 2 tools in the toolbox: medication and surgery. And thank God, as someone who has used both medication and surgery at times in her journey to become pregnant, hallelujah to medication and surgery. We're not knocking docs and we're not knocking those things. It was in no way the complete picture of what I needed to become pregnant and have a healthy baby. And I would highly, highly doubt that that is also the complete picture for you. So don't expect that your doctor is going to know everything, is going to be able to give you diet advice and lifestyle advice and put you on the right supplements and investigate all of the nooks and crannies of your fertility. Most likely not. And it's important to have reasonable expectations in that and realize that's why people like Caitlin and I are in practice, because we don't do medication surgery. If that's all you want, girl, don't come to my town, all right? That's not what I'm offering. I'm offering all the other pieces that are so vital in keeping your body healthy and ready for a baby and healing the underlying issues that are keeping you from getting pregnant in the first place. Okay? So we're not knocking docs here. They have great things to offer, but they don't offer everything. So it's a big mistake, mistake number 5, to think that your doctor is just the expert because they have the medical degree. They know everything. They will tell you everything you need to know, and that's all you just shut your pretty little brain off. Not how doctors work. And we don't want you to fall into that trap. So there you have it, the top 5 mistakes we see women making when they are trying to conceive. If you liked this episode, if you love this episode, if you think somebody could benefit from this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, share. It helps other people find us. And we hope to see you again on the next episode of the Food Freedom Fertility Podcast. Bye-bye.